relatives. It was the late summer of 1955. A 14-year-old boy named Emmett Till from Chicago was visiting his relatives in a small town in Mississippi called Money. Standing outside of Bryant's, the local grocery and meat market, Emmett and his cousins were laughing and carrying on like any teen boys do. Emmett decided to go in and buy some candy. Little did he know this small act would lead to his unjust and gruesome death. To show off to his cousins, Emmett decided to flirt with the cashier, a white woman named Carolyn Bryant. As his cousins recalled, he simply said, "Bye, baby," on his way out. Carolyn, however, had a different story. According to her, Emmett acted in an extremely inappropriate manner. He apparently grabbed her, made lewd advances, and wolf-whistled on his way out. 4 days later, when Carolyn's husband Roy, who was also the owner of the store, returned home from a work trip, he became instantly enraged by what his wife said had happened. In the early hours of August 28th, Roy Bryant, along with his brother-in-law, J.W. Millam, went to Emmett's uncle's house demanding to see the boy. Despite the uncle, Mose Wright, pleading with the two men, Emmett was kidnapped and was never to be seen alive again. What took place while this young boy was in the hands of these two men is absolutely horrid and will never be forgotten. Emmett Till was beaten to a pulp in a tool house behind Millam's residence and then taken to the Tallahatchie River, where he was shot in the head, tied to barbed wire, and thrown in the water. Emmett's body was found 3 days later. It was so mutilated that the only way he could be identified was from a ring he was wearing that had his initials. While the authorities wanted to bury the body right away, his mother, Mammy, requested to have the body sent back to Chicago. After seeing her son's lifeless body in such a horrid condition, she decided to have an open casket funeral so that the whole world could see what racist murderers did to her son. His body was on display for a total of 5 days at Robert's Temple Church of God. Thousands came all over to see Emmett's body. Bryant and Millam went on trial shortly after. Emmett was buried on September 23rd, where an all-white, all-male jury came to the quick conclusion that the two men were not guilty. The jury's excuse? The state had failed to prove without a doubt that the found body was in fact that of Emmett Till's. Not only were they acquitted of murder, but the state decided not to indict Millam and Bryant of the separate charge of kidnapping. While Emmett Till's murder was gruesome beyond words and absolutely horrible, it brought to light just how bad Jim Crow segregation laws were in the South. This murder of an innocent black boy served as a spark to the civil rights movement. The irony of it all? A few months later, the two admitted to the crime and sold their story for $4,000 to Look magazine, all the while protected by double jeopardy laws. Years later, Carolyn admitted to lying about the accusations, which ultimately led to Emmett's death. Emmett's death will never be forgotten, as it reminds us of how far the African American community has come and how far they need to still go to end racism once and for all. The fight is not over.